I got a problem. I don't want to rush painting, but I also want to play Warhammer. So instead of painting faster, let's paint smarter. Right, the first step, what we want to do is just cover this in paint, but in a specific way. We're going to thin this brown down to, let's say you'd probably need about 4 coats of this to get a fully opaque layer. And we're going to slap it on. And we're going to let it dry. And we're going to do it again. We're going to use the biggest brush we've got. And then when we need to get into smaller areas, we're going to use a smaller brush. Crazy. So we're going to use a triad on this undercoat. Not that kind of triad. A color triad. So we're basically going to do the same thing again. The consistency of the paint is going to be the same. But we're going to focus a bit more on the top of the miniature, tops of panels. Not cover the whole thing. But we do want to put some paint on the lower panels, just for variation. You can't go wrong here. You don't want too much primer showing. This is very important. You want to get a very nice Kolinsky sable, and you want to dip that very nice and expensive Kolinsky sable into some super glue so it absolutely ruins the paintbrush. And that's the only way to do this. We're going to be a bit more selective with our brightest color. We're going to stipple on some volumes. Don't worry too much, this is the underpaint. Just make some interesting marks and focus mostly on the very top of the panels. Again, the paint is the same consistency. Now you can't make a mistake at this stage. It's impossible. Oh, I made a mistake. You want to build up 2D texture, not 3D texture. So keep your paint thin, because if you make a mistake like that, you can wipe it off. I don't usually do sub-assemblies, but I want to get the main bulk of the miniature painted. And just like the British spelling of the word through, that's just going to slow me down. Alright, now the green. Use whatever green you want. Use whatever paint you want throughout this process. My actual Death Guard mix is good. It's really good. I like it. I mean, of course I like it. Let's paint. Now we're going to stipple on this green, but we're not going to cover everything. We're going to play around, make some mess, We're not going to go fully opaque everywhere. You can basically add as much as you want, or as little as you want, and that will age the armor more. You can see under that green, we've got that wonderful texture that we just spent so long building up. I'm going to highlight some of these panels, interesting panels, just things to bring some interest. I like this voiceover right now. Oh my god. You can do some edge highlights, I suppose. I do some. I'm not really into edge highlighting, but sharper edges that look good. I guess I paint what looks good. That's not very helpful. But that's what I'm doing. I'm just having a go. Now we're going to come in with a 50-50 wash. The reason it's 50-50 is because I'm going to work on a small area at a time, put it on, and then I'm going to clean up any pooling. I don't want any pooling because it's going to ruin everything we've already done. Do the dick board. Coffee staining is going to ruin everything, like you ruined Christmas. Alright, that's not enough definition. So I'm going to come in with some neat wash here. Don't use Agrax Earthroot shade. I don't like it. It's really glossy, and I'm just shaking it like someone would shake it a lot. Okay, I'm quickly going to base coat the cape. I don't seem to get much coverage with purple, but I really like this color, so thin coats. I'm also going to use this purple on tentacles, some of the cables. I like to do the cables, some of the leather pieces. I don't want to put too many colors in. I want it to be boring. No, I don't want too much color going on because we're going to be putting on metals. We're going to have oranges on there. We're going to have stronger greens. I don't want to confuse you too much. I just want that micro detail. Let's do the horns. That sounded wrong. Spikes, horns, bones. They're all going to get this. I think that's grunge brown. If it's grunge brown, tell me in the comments if I put the right color above there. I'm also going to clean up anything that I'm going to put metallics on. Not for any reason other than it looks better. Like I can see it when I'm trying to paint it. I know what I've missed. Okay, now this is where we're going to bring in some more micro texture. We're going to paint these lines. I mean, we're always painting lines, but really thin lines with an off-white. And we're going to start at the bottom of the horn, and we're going to bring those lines up. Try and get them as thin as possible, but don't worry if some of them are a little thick. You can either wipe them off, or it'll fade out, and the more lines you put on top of that, the more interesting it's going to be. We're also going to put a fairly thin wash and just push it to the bottom for depth. Just like a confused blacksmith, we're going to refine this cape. We're We're going to thin down some of this midnight purple, and we're just going to paint in some shadows. This is quite thin. It's not quite a wash consistency, but it's close. We're coming in here with our base color, and we're just going to clean up some of those shadows. Coming in with our Warlord purple, which isn't actually our brightest. Basically the bits we figured out already, we're just going to paint that in. Make it really saturated. Now here comes the texture. What we're going to do is make sure that this paint runs off the brush like you run away from responsibilities. And try and make these lines as thin as possible. Again, it doesn't matter if some of your lines are a bit thick, some are thinner. We're going to go over this a couple of times. And it's going to build the illusion that there is a lot of detail going on here. Which we technically did paint, but we're not Richard Gray. We're just going to build up this texture until from a distance it's going to look, oops. Okay, I like to leave my mistakes in because we make mistakes when we paint. It happens. I'm going to try and clean this up by flooding it with water, wiping it a bit. It eventually goes away, but I could always bring in more of that shadow color to tidy that up. As we look at my thumb perfectly in focus, and not the miniature, we're going to realize that we're going to get faster and faster and faster the more we practice. It's crazy how that works, huh? Now, Goo is good for two things. Mispronouncing the word go and making stuff look gross. We can get this green. I'm not going to go all the way into the recesses. We're going to cheat and smooth that out later. So just coat the top half. I've decided to pick out some of these maggots. There's a lot of maggots on these guys. Maybe not all the maggots, but some of them. And then we're going to come in with a green wash. If you don't have a green wash, just thin down some dark green paint. As that goes into the recesses, it's just going to make it smoother. Smooth Goo, that's what you want. Goo is wet and squishy, just like your thought processes before coffee in the morning. So we're going to jump up the levels and highlight this. You can always give this a gloss coat later, just to reinforce the squishiness. Smoke always takes me ages, so I'm a cheat. First I'm going to base it with an off-white. And I'm going to use a dry brush. Well, this is a makeup brush. Is it weird that I didn't use the dry brush I used earlier for dry brushing? That's fine. I'm going to bring a lot of blue. This is kind of an overbrush, really. I just want a bit of that white showing underneath. Now I'm going to mix in some black. my mixture, and an even lighter dry brush. And that's it. Don't worry if you catch any of the horns here, because we're going to reinforce all that texture we did earlier. Okay, coming to the home stretch now. Let's do some metals. I'm just going to base coat silvers. And then the coppers. Not the place. You didn't think I meant the place, did you? I'm going to wash it 50-50. Thin down wash. I like doing this. It just means when we make a mistake, it's easier to clean up or hide. I'm going to feather out the edges with like a damp brush. I hate coffee staining. I think it ruins the look. And highlight your copper. We're not actually going to highlight the silver. We're going to make it dirty. So I'm going to use some verdigris on the copper. This is great stuff. You just kind of slap it on and then clean it up with water afterwards, which reactivates it. Which is the same with the dirty down rust. Unlike my hobby area, this is going on neat. I'm going to put it in all the areas that look cool or might have some water buildup. I don't care too much about realism. This is Death Guard. I'm also going to use it to cover up some mistakes I've made. You want to cover stuff up? Do it with damage, decay, dirt. Again, it's water soluble, so I'm going to clean some of this off. I'm going to feather some edges. I'm going to put water on some of the effect we've already done, and that's going to vary the color as well. Okay, now I did arms and stuff when I was doing the armor. So I'm going to come in here and we're going to do some more texture work. First of all, base coat it. This is my favorite color for base coating cloth, skulls, paper. And then I'm going to very messily pick out some of the higher points. It doesn't matter if you make too much mess here, because the next coat is just going to fix it. It's actually going to make it look better if you do make mistakes, because there's going to be more variation. Now again, thin lines. I'm just doing little dashes wherever I can reach the miniature. And it's just little scratches. This doesn't make any sense for cloth, but from a distance, you look at that and you see there's a load of texture there. How do they do that? With paint, clearly. Okay, I used 3 different color browns on the wood. You don't need to. I just wanted to try out these paints. We do the same thing that we've been doing all along, which is lots of thin, scratchy lines in a triad. Like wood, Come on. Hey, thanks for watching the video. I'm going to hold the footage of the completed miniature for ransom to get you to watch till the end, I guess. If you want to help support me, you can hit like and you can drop comments. Please subscribe to the channel because there aren't many yet, and I have got a ton of ideas for stuff. I've not based these miniatures because I want to show you how I base a large amount of miniatures at once, which I think is interesting. I mean, I would think it's interesting because it's me. You might think it's interesting too. Yeah. I should have really written this outro.
From the impact, creating a small but somehow elegant crater. If I hadn't dived out of the way at the last moment, that would have been it for me, reduced to a small stain. But as it was, I rolled and came back to my feet, cracking off a couple of shots from my las pistol as I did so.